Hey, Buckets, how you doing, buddy?
Ian, you know what? And you know what, to all the loyal listeners? I am doing pretty damn good today. It's a beautiful day. It's wonderful weather outside. We're hitting all our bets. We're having fun. It's good to be here, buddy.
Yeah, you know what? I hate to say it, but every time you curse on the show, you seem to go on a hot streak. So feel free to curse away right about now, Buckets. I can't wait to run this hot streak with you once again. Hey, listen, we got to get into the show, but I want to check in and make sure you're doing good. Obviously, you've been busy this weekend. You've been lightening things up, obviously, in the betting stakes. I know it's been a crazy weekend for you because you've obviously been doing pretty well with the live betting. So just real quickly, just touch upon what's happening with the live betting in you.
I'm just having fun this weekend, man. Listen, I know it's like the last couple weeks here of European footy before we take a big break for a lot of these major leagues. So I told all of our loyal listeners, I'm just going to bet as much as I possibly can while being responsible, of course. But anytime I see a live wager I've liked over the past 5 days, I've just tweeted out to everyone and said, hey, listen, I don't care if it's the Chinese Super League. I don't care if it's a relegation battle in France. I don't care if it's a promotion series with Cremonese in Serie B. I'm just having fun and I'm shooting wagers out here, man.
All right, just for everybody out there, including the loyal listeners, we've got a rapid show for you today. Time is tough to come by at this moment in time, so let's fire through the show today. Apologies to everybody who's looking for the hour-long special. This is a different type of show. Obviously, time is a little bit more restricted for myself, for Buckets, for producer Jeff. End of the season, busy as fuck. Just going to say that this show was directly made for Eric Gunnarsson. This is his perfect show, Buckets, because all he wants is the fucking bets. Let's quickly review what happened this weekend, Buckets, because it's a rapid show. Fire through what happened with the stoppage time bets.
All right, we're going to go fast. Thursday, Crescencio Somerville to score or assist, cash it. Friday, Fiorentina versus Napoli. Fiorentina draw no bet, push 2-2 draw. Saturday, Hearts versus Rangers. Both teams to score an over 2.5 goals. We should have done over 5.5 goals, cash it. We also took NYCFC second half goal. Oh, I believe that hit, and I believe they also won. Cash it. Sunday, Man City versus West Ham. Man City over 1.5 team total in the first half. I made this a 2-unit play because I was just that confident. And thank you, Phil Foden, for cashing that. Monday, Bologna versus Juve. I took a first half draw. Should have taken the full match draw. Did not cash that one. And then Wednesday, at the time of recording this, which is today on a Wednesday, we have Atalanta versus Leverkusen. I took Leverkusen over 1.5 team total. We do not know that outcome yet, but you will at the time of watching this.
We go to the comments. Elia Ramirez jumping in saying, oh my God, shout out to Buckets for this live betting run. Shit is unbelievable. And thank you for sharing. Glad to be along for the ride, boys. Hashtag have it. Nate the Great jumping in and saying, John Buckets, so glad I found you earlier this year. The best soccer capper. Hell of a weekend for live bets. Love you, John. We jump over to Christopher Morris. He said every damn week Bucket somehow takes his game to another level. This weekend's live bet bonanza was off the top rope. WWE reference right there. Caleb Cassidy jumping in and saying, great episode, lads. Buckets, could you give the loyal listeners a sneak peek, quick breakdown of what your research process is? Think it would be cool to understand how your gambling mind works. Sending love from Virginia. Buckets, take it away.
I think that would be a ton of fun. What I'll actually do for you is I will film a separate little YouTube short kind of explaining my processes and what I do, and I'll get that up on all of our social medias later this week.
Before we get into the best bets for this weekend, because it is a rapid fire show, aka the Eric Gunnarsson show. Buckets, I want to point out that you put a tweet out there saying, y'all know I can get emotional. For some reason, hitting 25,000 followers really hit. I've been giving out plays now for almost 3 years, from real estate to Reddit to Twitter to CBS, stoppage time, and more. It's been a hell of a ride, and it's just getting started. In honor of the 25K, here are 10 things, people, groups I'm grateful for that are only a part of my life because this works. Of course, you went through all of the subjects. Freya, all of you, Discord, other cappers, the early edge crew in the chat, the lost bets and the haters. You went through Patreon supporters, financial supporters, which is great. Buckets, people can find you on Patreon. They can support you if they financially want to. Where can they find you on Patreon?
You can find me on patreon.com/BucketJohnBets. And all that does is give you some extra little wagers, score predictions, and just some extra breakdowns as well there, Ian.
Footy fans, let's be honest, without soccer, I have no clue what I would be doing in my real life. But you also gave a shout out to the old crew, the Points Bet crew, the Stoppage Time crew, obviously producer Jeff included in that, but you gave a big shout out to the IPJ Joy Paul man. Yeah, that's fucking right, that's me. Buckets, I just want to say, listen, this is your moment to say thank you to your loyal listeners out there because you do have a platform, you have a big voice out there, you share it on your social media, now with 25,000 followers, which is quite incredible considering you started a few years ago with literally no fucking followers. What you have managed to achieve, you should be very proud of yourself. So here's your platform to say thank you to all of us out there. You've got 30 seconds to do so. Go.
Oh, no pressure. All right, 30 seconds. I just want to say thank you, everyone, for supporting not only me, but all of my projects, all of my partners, all of the people I work with here. Ian, I know that when we first started doing shows together, I said, hey, all you people that just follow me for the sports bets, this is IPJ. You might not know him, but you're going to because he's going to be around for a very long time. And all of you said, abso-freaking-lutely, we will follow IPJ. We will follow the Points Bet crew. We will follow Jeff. We'll follow Hot Cocoa. We just have such a good community, and it is unmatched in a space that is a lot of time focused on kind of the sad things, and it's a tough industry to build a positive community in, Ian, but we've done it time and time again, and I'm very grateful for the support.
Well said, John Bucketimer. We appreciate all the great work that you do, and I can speak for the thousands of fans that do follow you across all of your multiple platforms, and we want them all to be Stoppage Time followers, FY fucking I. At the same time, Buckets also is doing this for free right now. He's doing this out of the goodness of his heart. He loves a lot of people out there, so feel free to support him if you want to financially support him as well, because we want the Bucket Man to be enjoying his life every single goddamn day, producing bets every single goddamn day, producing live bets every single goddamn day in the best possible way possible. Speaking of which, you know it wouldn't be an episode of Stoppage Time if we didn't get you some wagers from our betting expert. Yes, that is right. That is the blonde bombshell. That is the betting unicorn, our very own John Bucketimer. Welcome back, Buckets. You just hit the fucking big time. Today we're going to do something quite electric. We want 7 best bets from you. We want Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I know one of those days you simply despise, so maybe we'll only do 6. Let's begin with Thursday, but before we get there, Buckets, here's some games that you can potentially bet on Thursday. The German Cup Bundesliga Playoff is Bochum against Dusseldorf, Cagliari against Fiorentina in Serie A. We've got the Scottish Premiership Playoff, Rafe Rovers versus Ross County. Then we go to the Turkish Cup final. It is Besiktas against Trabzonspor. Buckets, where the hell are you going?
Ian, I am going to that Bundesliga relegation promotion playoff between Bochum and Dusseldorf because I saw a line in this game, and I know that it's 2 legs. You get to play at home and away, but I still saw a line that is, frankly, it is asinine. It is wrong. It is incorrect, and we are disrespecting who I think is the better side here. I think Dusseldorf make it to the Bundesliga. I've watched Bochum all season long, and I have not been impressed, and I've watched Dusseldorf all season long, and I have been very impressed by this Fortuna side. Dusseldorf had the most goals scored in all of the Span Bundesliga, and a team that had St. Pauli playing, Holstein Kiel, that had Hamburg, that had that Karl team that I can never pronounce right to save my life. Dusseldorf were the highest scoring team with 72 goals scored over their 34 games. And honestly, this is a team that should be upset that they did not finish for automatic promotion. Bochum, on the other hand, has struggled all Bundesliga season long, and I know that they have this first home leg at home, and this should be the leg in which they produce a result, but I don't think they will. I can get Dusseldorf a double chance, which means Dusseldorf win or draw right now at minus 135. It's a little bit of juice, but considering I think Dusseldorf win this outright in both legs here, I will absolutely pay that juice and play this every single time, Ian.
Yeah, don't forget it's 2 legs when everybody's going into placing this wager. It's not just a 1-legged playoff final. It's not that. This is 2-legged game, so a draw is very much realistic. Let's talk about the teams and where they finished in the Bundesliga this season. Before we do, let me clear my throat. We've got Bochum, who finished 16th in the Bundesliga. Fortuna Düsseldorf finished 3rd in the Bundesliga. Zweite. 7 games won for Bochum, 12 games drawn, 15 games lost. They scored an average of 1.24 goals per game. They conceded an average of 2.18 goals per game with only 4 clean sheets. Dusseldorf, on the other hand, won 18 games going with confidence. They've drawn 9. They've lost only 7. They score an average of 2.12 goals per game, and they concede only an average of 1.18, and 10 clean sheets to their name tells us that they are absolutely one of the favorites going in here. However, I'm going to throw this out at you, Buckets, over the 2 legs. The Bundesliga is the heavy favorite side to stay in the Bundesliga. If you look at the past results, it's like 90% of the time, the team in the top flight stays in the top flight. It's very difficult for the second Bundesliga team to actually get there. but I'm with you there. I like Fortuna Dusseldorf. I think over 2 legs, they can make this an incredibly close game, closer than we would imagine, and score a whole bunch of goals in the process. Buckets, we've got NURBK jumping in and saying, what betting apps does Buckets use?
All of them. I've got like 15 sports books downloaded at any given time because I shop lines and I like to make sure I'm getting the best value possible. So I can name them all if we want, but any app that's available, I have it currently.
Let's go to Friday. We've got Girona against Granada. We've got Genoa against Bologna. And in the French Ligue 1 playoff, we've got Saint Etienne against Rodez. And in the Serie B promotion playoff, what a great game this is. Venezia versus Palermo, who are owned by City Football Group, by the way. Buckets, where are you going on Friday?
I am going to absolutely none of those, but I will lean and say that I do like Saint Etienne to get past Rodez. I'm very, very invested in that matchup. But I'm going to the Swedish Allsvenskan. I'm going to a team we've bet on before in the show, Malmo taking on Kalmar. And I'm taking the Buckets Classic here at both teams to score, and I'm taking it because it's plus 100. You know it's rare to get a plus sign between or before a BTTS bet, and I get why it exists. Malmo is absolutely dominating the Swedish Allsvenskan. 25 goals scored over 10 matches, only 6 conceded. This is a team that doesn't concede a lot, but Malmo is also the kind of team that when they play poor competition, they tend to take their foot off the gas, they get a little bit cocky, and they make mistakes. And Kalmar is a team that everybody underestimates. Understandably, they're second last on the table right now, 15th with 3 wins, 1 loss or 1 draw, 6 losses. But Kalmar has also been the BTTS goats of the Swedish Allsvenskan. 17 goals scored, 19 goals conceded. They've hit both teams to score in 9 of their 10 matches so far. This is a team that could be down 7-0, and they push exactly like Girona does. They just do not care. This is a team that goes for goals, and I think they'll be able to sneak one past this Malmo side here, Ian.
Malmo, definitely a team right now that's flying high at the top of the table in the Allsvenskan, as you pointed out there. 10 games played, 8 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss, 25 goals scored, 6 goals conceded. Best defensive record in the league right now, if I'm not mistaken. At the same time, Buckets, if you're a statistic magician out there like I am, if you go back through the last 5 games, competitive games, it's been 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0. And there was a friendly before that. It was also 1-0. Seems to be a trend that is actually going along here. So be careful how you place on this wager, especially when it's a lower team trying to get that 1 goal. Buckets will be right. If Malmo go and score 3 or 4 goals and are winning comfortably at halftime, you can switch off. That happens naturally. I think if it's a close game like a 1-0, it's going to be much more difficult for the opposition to score a goal. Daniel Ho jumped in and said, just another amazing show. Because of you two and your promotion of mental health, I was able to just enjoy this weekend of football without placing a wager. I am curious what your thoughts are on the Euro rosters that have been announced. Me and Buckets will be breaking down the Euros on another show, a separate show ahead of the Euros actually taking place. But let's quickly just give a golf clap to Daniel Hill for taking care of his mental health, Buckets, because this is what we'll do. We'll never stop the promotion. It is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I want people out there to be smart. If you don't want to bet wagers, don't bet wagers. If you want to just enjoy the games, enjoy the games. Being in control of this, so important.
Yeah, it's so important. We are probably the only betting show on the planet that will tell you actively, do not bet if you are not in the mental space for it. We want you to make sure that you're enjoying the betting space properly, and that can only happen if you're prioritizing your mental health first. So props to you for doing the right thing there.
It's so fun. I never even thought about it that way. We're the only ones in the market saying, don't fucking place wagers. All
Don't
right.
do it.
Don't,
Don't try.
don't do it. At the same time, out there, if you are placing wagers, please bet responsibly regardless. That's the most important step you can take for making sure you're taking care of your own mental health. Let's go to Saturday. A ton of league games. We've got league games in La Liga, games in Serie A, games in Major League Soccer, pretty much a full slate across the board. We've got cup finals across the board on Saturday as well. We've got Coupe de France. It is Lyon against PSG. The FA Cup, Manchester City against Manchester United. The German Cup final, Kaiserslautern against Leverkusen, lower division, against obviously the most incredible side in this season, Leverkusen, who are undefeated. And of course, going into tonight's, as we record this episode, Europa League final, we will see if they remain undefeated. And then we've got the Scottish Cup final, Celtic against Rangers. But I'm just intrigued. Where's my boy Buckets gone?
He's actually staying off of the Leverkusen match because I want to see what they do against Atalanta first before they take on Kaiserslautern. I'm actually going to this Manchester derby. I'm breaking the rule and I'm betting on a match that includes one of IPJ's teams, but I'm looking at the head-to-head and it's just too tasty for me to ignore right now. Manchester City versus Manchester United. If you look at their last 6 head-to-head matches, over 2.5 goals has hit in all 6 of those. Both teams to score has hit in 5 of the 6 there. Man City has scored first in 6 of the 7. And let's just be honest, right now, with the form that both these clubs are in, it should be a Manchester City absolute devastation here in this matchup. But it's still a derby, and United still have something to play for, obviously, to win silverware, but just to end the season on a high note that was riddled with so much just not great things on and off the pitch here. So I'm keeping it a little bit simple, but I wanted to get those sexy plus odds numbers. So what I'm doing is a same game parlay of both teams to score and no draw. I'm taking the IPJ bet here. That is plus 115. I assume it'll be Manchester City winning here and both teams to score. But in case we get something crazy, that no draw protects me. I'm taking a piece of notebook. That's not the word. A piece of paper out of IPJ's notebook and doing this wager because I love plus odds. I love both teams to score. And I do think we see fireworks in this one.
You brought up the fact that Manchester City like to score early goals, and I'd like to remind the loyal listeners out there something that actually hurt my head and soul last time out the FA Cup took place when Manchester United and Manchester City were both in the final. Ilkay Gundogan scored the fastest FA Cup final goal ever. He scored after 12 seconds, beating David De Gea in the goal from outside of the penalty area. 12 seconds, pretty much the fastest goal I've ever seen, which is absolutely insane. But I'm with you here on this one, Buckets. I think both teams to score, and no draw is obviously the safest play here. Manchester City clear favourites. They could score 5 against this United side. That's how many opportunities United give you. But United can score a couple of goals. And if United do score a couple and make this game interesting, maybe they're the team that come out victors. Maybe this is Ten Hag's last game in charge. So I guess you've got to be careful how you bet this one. But I do like the BTTS and no draw in that game a lot. Stephen Tompkins jumping in and saying, they say that the only sure thing in this crazy world are death and taxes. I say the only sure things are an entertaining and informative show from Buckets, Ian, and the gang each week. And a Lawrence Shankland anytime goal scorer hit. Keep him coming, lads. Hashtag have it. Of course, Lawrence Shankland scored once again this past weekend. He is a favorite on our show. Buckets, let's go to Sunday. We got a ton of league games from La Liga and Serie A again. We also have the richest game in football. That is, of course, the Championship Playoff final between Leeds and Southampton. Where are you going?
I am going to some Serie A action because the Serie A table is still just an absolute mess. There are 4 teams that could get relegated on this last match day. Empoli, Udinese, Frosinone, and Cagliari. I think I probably did most of those wrong, but that's okay. And I'm looking at a matchup between 2 of those clubs that are actually playing each other. Frosinone will host Udinese in a matchup that could determine whether these clubs stay up or not. It should be an absolute banger, which means it's probably going to end 1-1, especially considering Udinese is playing and they have still the most draws in Serie A with 19 draws over their 37 matches. This is the kind of matchup where both teams desperately want to find 3 points because 3 points guarantees safety for both of these clubs. And I don't think either team will actually get the win here, Ian. If you want to get crazy with it, I think a 1-1 score prediction at plus 800 might be worth a sprinkle here, but there's just nothing to really differentiate these two clubs. Frosinone at home has been great. They've been scoring a lot of goals, but they also have the highest both teams to score hit rate when playing at home in all of Serie A. This is a team that tends to score 1 and then immediately concede and then not really know what to do with the rest of their time. I'm taking that BTTS at minus 135. Again, a little bit of juice. This match might start very slow considering what's at stake here, but I just can't get my mind past this 1-1 score line. And I think that both teams to score anytime you see either of these clubs playing in Serie A is a must bet for me.
It's pretty crazy what's happening in the top of the table in Serie A this season. Obviously, Empoli still have an opportunity on 33 points, Udinese on 34 points, and Frosinone on 35 points. All 3 of them could essentially get relegated. But at the same time, this is a great bet, and these are 2 teams who are actually desperate to stay up, and a draw might be good enough for both of them. So I'm really intrigued to see how this plays out. I'm really excited about the Championship Playoff final, Buckets. And real quickly, can I get a scoreline prediction from you from Leeds United against Southampton, 2 massive clubs who are used to playing in the top flight? Can you have a quick guess as to what you think this game's going to play out in the final?
I'm going to shock everyone here and go with who I assume is the underdog. I think Southampton get back to the Prem. I've got them beating Leeds 2-1 in this final, Ian.
Yeah, they had a lot of success against them in the championship, if I'm not mistaken, in the fixtures. And Southampton actually beat Leeds on the last game of the season to stop Leeds from getting automatic promotion. So I'm intrigued to see how this goes out. I'm going to go out and say we see a lot of goals in this game. Both teams to score hits. I'm also going to say that Leeds are my favourite, but Southampton, I wouldn't put it past him. So I'm actually going to sit on the fence here. I've got no idea. So fucking listen to Buckets. We've got Second Best jumping in the comments and saying, love how Ian uses Buckets' as full government name when he's being serial. Of course, let's go to Monday. We've got the Bundesliga relegation playoff second leg between Dusseldorf and Bochum. Can't imagine Buckets is going to go there, considering we don't know who is going to win that first game or how that game's going to go. But we do have some big games going on in the Saudi Pro League, because it is the last match day in the Saudi Pro League, and the biggest one that I can see is Al Nassr against Al Ittihad, but I can almost guarantee the Buckets is choosing none of them.
That is a great matchup. I'm very excited for that one. I am not choosing it. I am instead going to the massive matchup in Brasileiro. That's not how you say it?
Brasileiro.
Brasileiro Serie B. So the second tier of Brazilian football is what caught my eye. And I'm looking at the matchup with Avaí hosting Goiás. And Goiás is a team this season that is playing with absolute violence. They do not care about anyone. This is a team that got relegated last season and said, abso-fucking-lutely not. We are going right back to Serie A, and we are going to devastate everyone in this league. 6 matches played, 4 wins, 2 draws, 0 losses, 13 goals scored, 2 goals allowed in 6 games. This is a team that knows that they should not be in Serie B, and they're looking for that automatic promotion immediately back up to play with the big boys. They're playing an Avaí side that is good. I'm not going to say that they don't have a chance here, but what the problem with this Avaí side is they are playing very defensive right now. 6 matches played, only 5 scored, only 5 conceded. So this is a team that in all their matches, even though they've won their last 3, they're grinding games to a halt, and they're playing for those cagey 1-0 victories, maybe a 2-1 if it gets crazy. And you can't do that against Goiás. Goiás is a team that doesn't need to play defense because their offense is so good, you never get the chance to shoot right now. I'm taking Goiás, draw no bet at -110. I think they win this outright at +170, but I'm absolutely going to take my safety net there with almost even money in this matchup.
No comment from IPJ right there, because I've no fucking clue what Buckets just said. We go back to the comments. We've got We Are Ego. Hopefully I've said that right. Where Ego? I don't know, whatever. Keep up the great work, lads. I love the dedication to sharing our beautiful game, and can't thank you guys enough for starting and continuing the dialogue around mental health. We Regal. Love you very much. Thank you so much for your comment right there. Thank you to the loyal listeners for all the comments. Let's go to Tuesday, Buckets. Any bets on Tuesday?
What do you think, Ian? Of course I'm not betting on Tuesday. You know the theme of FC Stoppage Time. We are fans of the hashtag Tuesday movement. Let's move to Wednesday, baby.
He swore again. It's going to be a red hot weekend. Let's go to the comments before we do jump into Wednesday, because Thomas Marshall, easier to pronounce name, said, this show is like the Jelly of the Month Club. It just keeps on giving. Buckets, do you know what movie that is from? That quote, the Jelly of the Month Club.
No, I don't.
Do you know Christmas Vacation? Have you ever watched Christmas Vacation, the movie?
No.
Oh my gosh. Producer Jeff is going to tear you to pieces.
Sorry, Jeff.
Oh my gosh. Love that movie, by the way, Christmas Vacation. You have to watch it around Christmas, Buckets, but it's one of the more funny old school movies that you will ever find. Chevy Chase and that is absolutely brilliant. So please go and check it out, and you will too get a voucher to the Jelly of the Month Club. Let's go to Wednesday. We have the Europa Conference League final, Olympiacos against Fiorentina, plus a full slate of Major League Soccer games. Buckets, where you going?
I am on MLS, and I'm looking at that matchup, and I'll just be honest, my recency bias is showing here between FC Cincinnati and Nashville SC. If you followed us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, OnlyFans, wherever you're following us, you know that last week when Cincy played, we cashed 2 separate tickets on Luciano Acosta, him to score and him to assist. And the form he has been in, and the form this Cincinnati team has been in, it's been an incredible run so far. They're second in the Eastern Conference right now with a game in hand and only 1 point past Miami, which means if they win this matchup, they jump into Miami, Messi squad, to be top of the table. And they're playing a Nashville side that, frankly, just is not impressing me so far this season. They're just not having a good season. This is a team that has the likes of Hany Mukhtar that should be an offensive threat, but their defense is the problem right now. 20 goals conceded in their first 13 games has found them 11th on the table. This is a team that on the road just can't piece it together, and I'm expecting nothing but a Cincinnati victory here. However, I'm going to take the team total because I like that better than money line. Cincinnati over 1.5 team total at -125 in this matchup. Since he just beat St. Louis FC 3-1, they've beaten a lot of their opponents by putting up 3 goals. I don't need 3 goals. I just need 2 against the Cincinnati side that defensively, again, just hasn't impressed me yet this season, Ian.
Yeah, obviously these games are very difficult to predict because we don't know what's happening this weekend going into it. Nashville just fired their boss, Gary Smith. Looks like they're going to bring in a replacement from the U.S. national team. The assistant coach, I forget his name now, but at the same time, he looks like he's going to take over Nashville. BJ Callahan, I think it is. But I think that Cincinnati right now, albeit playing pretty good, getting decent results, and as you pointed out there, at the top of the table, can leapfrog into Miami. Still not playing their best football yet. There's more to come from that team. Like, I think they're one of the best teams in Major League Soccer right now. They are so unpredictable as to how they play, who they play against, where they play, the style they play, how energetic they are, how competitive they are. I mean, it's so fucking great watching them play football. And right now, no one's talking about them because everyone's raving about Inter Miami. Watch the space with Cincinnati, man. Does that tell me that you might be moving from being a Columbus Crew supporter to an FC Cincinnati fan? Is that what you just said?
That's not exactly what I said. I will say I might have used some of the winnings to order an FC Cincinnati kit off of my Acosta bets last season. That way I can switch if I need to based on how either team is doing. A true fan.
He is an Ohio soccer fan right there, the bucket
Exactly.
man. We go back into the comments. Reed Phillips Rad just saying, another gem of a show, gentlemen. Family stuff kept me from watching ASAP this week. So while I'm disappointed I missed some winning tickets, I'm stoked for the fam that grabbed them. Also, I'm sorry, producer Jeff, but I've got multiple future tickets from June 2023 on Real Madrid to win it all, of course, against Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League final next week. We are trying to plan how we're going to work the show going forward because obviously we are at the end of the season for a lot of the domestic seasons. The Italy season comes to an end. La Liga is obviously almost over as well. There's a lot of things ending. We've got European finals. We've got obviously a large period of time where there's nothing going on. I think it's about 12 days, 13 days. And then we get into the Euros and Copa America. So producer Jeff is busy. I'm also taking a quick vacation. So be patient with us, everybody. We're going to try and bring as much content as we possibly can, obviously on the social media platforms, but also we'll try to bring you as many shows as we possibly can. I actually thought, Buckets, about giving it a break today, but because you're on such a hot streak and because the loyal listeners deserve it, because there's a lot of big games going on, cup finals and playoffs and all this crazy stuff going on, it's important we keep putting out as much content as we possibly can. So we guarantee you every day, every week, you will have at least one show. But we're just trying to figure out how we go about going forward with these cup finals coming up, especially the Champions League final. Buckets, we're going to have to be creative. And I think that social media is going to play a big role in that.
I think it's absolutely going to play a big role in that. And I do think live betting will play a big role too. Maybe there's a week where there's not a ton of, really big name matches, but maybe me or IPJ or both of us go live on Twitter for half an hour and just explain our live betting processes and what we're doing there. We'll make sure you get content. It might not be in a long form show every week during the summer, but I promise you FC Stoppage Time is going absolutely nowhere for the loyal listeners.
Buckets, before we get out of here, can I just point out to you that there is a big problem with the managerial positions right now? Chelsea parting ways with Pochettino most recently, and as we record the show right now, have still not appointed a new manager. Barcelona are about to lose Xavi Hernandez. Bayern Munich obviously having some big problems with Thomas Tuchel, and every manager, the Sun is the one to take over Bayern Munich. And it looks like Manchester United are going to lose their manager as well. So we have got some of the biggest clubs in world football all looking like they're going to be without a manager. What are your thoughts on the carousel of coaches right now before we get to a little break here?
My thoughts are I have absolutely no clue what's happening anymore. I've never seen so many managers turn down an offer from Bayern Munich. And I feel like after the 8th or ninth rejection, I just have to stop watching because it's stressing me out. And I'm pretty sure that soon IPJ's phone is going to ring and it's going to be Bayern Munich calling saying, "Hey, Ian, listen, give it a shot at this point, man." It's stressful, but I know it'll work out in the end. So I'm just kind of waiting at this point.
Let me just tell you, there's no chance of me coaching, but those fucking press conferences would be electric if I was in them. That is for sure. Buckets, I appreciate you. This show has been pretty much produced, created, and directed by our wonderful main man, producer Jeff. Thank you for everything he is doing, changing the fucking game for us. It's a quick show today. Jeff's going to have some fun. Buckets, you have some fun. Keep on that hot streak because we appreciate you. I just want to let everybody know that I will be coming back with some bets, obviously, with the big games coming up. So will Hot Cocoa. But with Buckets on fire right now and us doing a rapid show just for our good friend Eric Gunnarsson, we wanted to make sure we got a show out there. Here it is. Everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy all the games. Place responsible wagers and AKA bet responsibly. Please make sure this weekend you absolutely have it.